Hi, I'm Craig, and I help veterans go from feeling stuck and unseen after service to living with confidence, connection, and purpose so that they can thrive in civilian life and relationships.
Good evening, YouTube. It is a Saturday, along about 7 p.m. I normally don't do videos on Saturdays, but I thought I'd pop on here real quickly. Sometimes you will see me do videos from my car. Tonight just happens to be a night where I'm going out to get food for me and wifey, and I thought I'd pop on here and talk to you guys just for a little bit about something that's on my mind. But before I do that, I want to tell you how much I appreciate all of you who are subscribed to the channel and who are watching the content. I really appreciate all of your support. I really appreciate your comments. I appreciate your questions. I appreciate all of your well wishes. I will say that I've seen an uptick in some of the activity and engagement on my channel, which has been pleasantly surprising to me. I'm just over here in my little corner of the world trying to help people and trying to assist vets in what they're doing. So I appreciate all of your support. I want to let you know that in addition to perhaps the hundreds of other veteran claim videos you'll see, I'm also a therapist. I work under a theoretical orientation called emotionally focused therapy. And under that theoretical orientation, I have a passion and an endeavor and a desire to help veteran couples and their families and military couples and their families get unstuck no matter what it is that they're going through or dealing with, and transition into civilian life in a safe and profitable and fulfilling way after a life of honorable and well-deserved service. So what you'll also see, in addition to the many VA claim videos, is you'll also see some counseling videos that are directed more toward veterans who are married, veterans who are individuals, veterans who have families, and military personnel as well, and anybody who is going through different struggles, concerns from a mental health perspective. I will be outlining my thoughts because I am really on this quest to develop a litany of tools and resources that will help vets. I see a gap and I see a deficiency in the resources that are available for veterans and military folks and their families that comprehends and parallels to how they served. So you'll see much more of that on my channel coming up. Lots of content to do. We got a lot of work to do, but we are in it to win it. And we live in royally and living well over here. So we got to do what we have to do to help the veterans do what they need to do. So I came on here today because I've done probably over the last 2 or 3 days, so that you don't have to. I've done a real deep dive into veteran claims companies, which, let me just say from the outset, disclaimer, I believe that veterans claim companies are what we need. I think that there is a dearth of VSOs to handle the weight and the sheer capacity of people who are veterans who are filing claims, who need the assistance and who need to make sure that their claims are adjudicated and make sure that their claims are decided effectively. And there's just, I believe the VSOs do a great job. I just don't think that there are enough VSOs, and therefore we are living in the age of the veteran claim companies. And you know, there's a bunch of people out there doing videos and that have done videos and have written articles about the GUARD Act and the GUARD Act and the other one, I can't remember the name of it, starts with a P, I think. I think it's one where you can choose actually to go with a VA claim company that they're trying to get in legislation. I'll put the link in the description to that legislation because it slips my mind right now. But GUARD Act, and then the other act, which different veterans organizations are advocating for different ones of those things, which they think may or may not be the best thing for veterans. That's not the point of this video, but because these acts involve the VA claim process and VA claims companies, I think it's worth mentioning that legislation is out there. I want to do this video today because I've done a deep dive into a lot of these companies over the last week, I would say week or so. And I want to talk about 5 warning signs to stay away from VA claim companies. 5 things you can look out for, 5 warning signs that will tell you that you should run from these VA claim compensation companies. So 5 warning signs to stay away from and to avoid VA claim companies. All right. Number 1 should be obvious to everyone. They promise you a percentage. And I was going to say 100%, but that's even worse. That should be obvious. I'm going to say this. If they promise you any percentage, then you should stay far away. If they say we can guarantee you 30%, or we can guarantee you 50%, or we can guarantee you 20 or 70 or 60 or what have you, you should stay far away from that company. Here's the reason why. Anybody who does this work on a routine, regular basis knows and understands there are at least as many factors as there are promises of 100%. There's at least, if somebody's promising you 100%, there's at least 100 different factors that could make that go left. So no one, and I do mean no one, and you will hear me on my channel say, I have never and will never promise anyone that they will get any level of percentage. Are we able to make estimates based on conditions that are told to us by veterans, based on conditions that we're working on, based on historical sort of guidelines for percentages that are given? We may be able to make estimates, but even those estimates are on shaky ground, largely because things are constantly changing in the VA. Regulations, rules, constantly changing in the VA. And you can't stake your flag on anything, because you can tell a veteran something on a Monday, and by Tuesday morning it will have changed regarding how the VA looks at that particular rating condition, how the VA looks at that particular claim, and now you've given misinformation. So one way you can tell is if they promise you any level of percentage, but most of them out here are saying you'll get 100%. And something that's very popular right now is I can get you from 90 to 100%. If they're promising you that, then you should stay far away. I will tell you personally that in my work with veterans, I can honestly say that by the grace of God and by just the sheer desire that we have to help and the research that we've done, there has never been a veteran who we've helped that has not gotten some kind of percentage. But I will tell you this, we have never guaranteed any veteran any kind of percentage. That's just not how we operate. That's not how we work. I think it's very dangerous for anybody. So I tell veterans, because you do get asked, what do you think, what percentage do you think I'm gonna get? You do get asked that question, and it's a valid question, right? You're spending this time, you're doing all this work, you want to know what's the likelihood of getting some sort of result for the work that you're doing. And I always say to veterans, I can give you an estimate, but I will never give you a guarantee. From the looks of your claim, I've historically seen that these are the common percentages that are given for these conditions, provided you have the documentation. That's the answer that I give. And I believe that's the answer that most people should give. Number 2, they claim to have the secret sauce to getting you a favorable claim. That's warning sign number 2. Anyone who claims to have the secret sauce to getting you a favorable claim should be avoided, marked and avoided, as the scriptures say. They should be marked and avoided. Here's the reason why. Hear me, dear veteran. Hear me, friend. No one, and I do mean no one, has a secret way to get you a VA compensation percentage claim. Nobody does. Are there different types of strategies for your claim? Absolutely. Are there different ways and methodologies that you can do to submit your claim that might not be known to all VSOs, or may not be known to all accredited agents, or may not be known to anyone else who you solicit to help you with your claim? Absolutely. But there are no secrets. Here's another reason why there are no secrets. Family. Everything is publicly available. Everything. All the M121, the 38 TFR, the VA.gov website, for crying out loud. Everything is publicly available. So no one has a back door. No one has a secret. No one has a particular methodology or strategy that they use that they've copyrighted, or just they've got some kind of trademarked way that's this super potent way that's just going to get you to 100% or get you a favorable claim, or it's just gonna that VSR is gonna look at your claim and go, oh my gosh, right? I can see they use the secret sauce. I'm being facetious and joking, but honestly, I just want to emphasize the point. There is no secret sauce, okay? No secret sauce to success. If you submit a good documented claim of a condition, remember we talked about our records being current, accurate, and complete. That's what my videos are all about, making sure your STRs, your service treatment records, and your personnel records, and everything that you have is current, accurate, and complete. You have a copy of them. If you submit that, you have just given yourself the best chance to get a favorable claim. There's no secret, okay? There's no secret. There is having documentation, being able to prove that you are actually a military serviceman or servicewoman, that you served during the time you served, that you served honorably, and that you have conditions that are claimable with the VA. That's it, right? And then making sure you follow up and being persistent. So that's number 2. Somebody claiming that they have some kind of secret to success. That's number 2. Number 3 is they never reference the regs. They never reference the regulations. Now, listen, all of us who have been in the game for a long time and who have been helping vets for many years, we all know that the 2 go-to regulations are the M121 for adjudication of claims and the 38 CFR. Those are the references that you should look to whenever talking. Listen, not just talking about VA compensation claims. These are the regulations for the adjudication of all VA benefit packages, right? 38 CFR is the Code of Federal Regulations. The M121 is the local regulation from the VA, right? That pulls everything from the 38 CFR. It's kind of like when you have different agencies who deal with different, say, contract regulations, right? The M121 is specific to the adjudication of claims and veterans benefits, because that's what the VA uses, the regulation the VA uses, okay? And then, listen, this may shock you, but you'll be interested to know that DOD references are also used in the adjudication of claim, because what a lot of people don't know is that the VA has, the DOD has a rating system as well, and the DOD and the VA have a certain relationship with one another, okay? With regard to medical and compensation claims. You could actually get a DOD percentage separate from your VA percentage. But that is not what this video is about. What this is about is stay away from VA claim companies who never, ever reference regulations, but are always telling you, we get people that claim all the time because this is what you need to do when you go in your conversations. You need to do X, Y, Z. And here's the thing. Since they want to convince you that they have the secret to success, they never put out publicly how you are to conduct yourself in a CMP exam. But that's common knowledge. Listen, that's public knowledge. That's not something that anybody should be withholding from you, right? How to conduct yourself in a CMP exam, what the CMP examiner is looking for, when they get your package, and when the VA begins to review, and in that process, what they're actually looking for. Those things are readily available at your fingertips. And believe me, you will see many videos from this gentleman that happens to be looking at the camera right now about those things. So you need not worry. We will get you right, and we will also make sure that we have the most updated regulations, because that's really important. So that's number 3. They never reference the regulations. They never say, hey, you never see them pull up the M121. You never see them pull up the 38 CFR. You never see them pull up anything. You just tell them, you just see dollar signs on their videos or their articles or in their paperwork. All you see is, we can get you 100%, we can get you 100%, we can get you this amount of money. You're walking out on thousands of dollars a month. Beware of somebody who never uses the regulations. Number four, they prey on your desperation. They prey on your desperation. Let me tell you what I mean by this one. They know, these companies, they know that there are thousands, hundreds, maybe even hundreds of thousands of veterans out there who have been trying so long to get some type of compensation from the VA, but have just been really, really confused, and now they're hearing all of this content, and they're hearing all of these stories about their friends who have gotten VA claims back, and they've been favorable, and they've gotten good decisions. They've gotten 100% here, and different. Somebody got 70%, or somebody got 60%, or 50%, or whatever the case may be, right? And these companies, they see that, and they know that that's what veterans are thinking, and they know how hard it is to get a hold of a good VSO, right? And so they prey on the desperation of the actual veteran who just wants somebody to help them. They just need help. This veteran just needs help. And a lot of veterans are like, well, I've got this person over here who's available, who's open to help me. But then I have a VSO who really only works 8 to 5. I work during the day. I can't get off. I don't have any PTO. I got no sick time or nothing like that. I don't have time to actually handle this. When veterans pay companies these thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, what they're actually paying for is the convenience of not having to do it themselves, because veterans have so many other things to do. Does that make sense? Veterans have jobs and families, and maybe some veterans run their own businesses. Veterans have different circumstances that are in their lives, right? Different things that they're doing, different mental health concerns. Actually, the physical and mental health concerns that they're trying to get claimed compensated for are the very things that cause them not to be able to sit down and look at the paperwork and get their DD-214 and get their personnel service records and find out all their medical records and private medical records, get their VA service records, VA records and post-military. That's just too much for them. And so they are depending on, if they hire somebody to do that, veterans deserve excellence in that area. But what companies do is they prey on veterans' desperation, and what they're doing is they're charging veterans, unfortunately, exorbitant amounts of money for the convenience of filing for them. But the problem is, once that money actually comes in, then you have a situation where veterans are their needs are not being met. They can't get a hold of these folks. they get ghosted and things of that nature by these companies, and it's just wrong. So do your research, read up, and find out. Now I have to say that, not all companies do that, or that are preying on veterans that way, but there are some companies who do. So just beware, just be careful, and look out for companies who might be preying on veterans in that way, okay? And finally, number 5, they insult your intelligence. Here's what I mean by that. Some of these companies will treat you as though you know absolutely nothing about the VA claims process. Now, veterans should definitely be teachable when it comes to this process, because there are parts of it that are very complex. But there are things that veterans will know, like, for example, the description of your story and exactly what you have gone through from a mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, social perspective, right? Like, you know that as the veteran, like, that's something that's very clear to you. No one can come along and tell you that you did or didn't have that experience, because that's an experience that's true to you and true to your history, right? You understand the harm that was inflicted upon you. You know what you went through in that hostile work environment. You understand how socially and occupationally this mental health disease or this mental health concern has impacted your life and your functioning. You know that, right? And there are some companies who will insult your intelligence. And they insult your intelligence in 2 ways. Number 1, they insult your intelligence by assuming that you're not able to craft a statement like that on your own, or that you're not able to, if they were to give you just a little bit of information, that you wouldn't be able to continue to carry on your own. Listen, I have clients who I started out with, and I got them to a certain percentage, right, as we worked together. But I have told all of my clients, once I actually educate you on this process, because there are no secrets to success, once I actually educate you on this process, you may find that you can carry it on your own. You may learn, because our veterans are intelligent, they're smart, they're crafty, they are resourceful, right? They understand what's going on. If they didn't understand, they wouldn't have had a successful military career. So they insult your intelligence by assuming that you need them to craft out your story and your narrative of how your claim is supposed to be built. And then they insult your intelligence by they insult your intelligence in the other direction, and that if you don't go with their company, right, you're not going to be able to get the claim, right? They're insulting your intelligence in a lot of ways. They're just assuming you can't read these regulations for yourself, that you can't interpret what's actually going on, right? And it's a complete insult to your intelligence. And you should watch out for anybody who's doing that, who is just assuming that you know absolutely nothing about the VA claims process. And here's the other way. They assume that all you want is to just get the money, right? That's what they assume. And here's the thing that has an integrity piece attached to it. The thing is, it's not just about the money. And I'm going to talk about this in several videos. It's not just about the money. It's about the complete benefit package, the silo of benefits, right? The arsenal of benefits that are owed to you as a veteran, that will help you to be able to be a contributing citizen and a productive citizen post-military to society. That really is what it's about, right? You go back and look at some of the original intent of the VA. That's what it's about, right? To take care of our war fighters when coming back home, to make sure that they can transition well into civilian life, and that they have the benefits and the resources that they need. So those are my 5. I'm pretty sure I can come up with 10 or 15 or 20 or 100 more reasons why, and maybe I'll do 5 more reasons video or something like that. But I wanted to come on here, family, and tell you guys, hey, listen, be careful, watch out, do your research, do your homework. I think that Royal Rock Counseling and Consulting will be able to help a lot of people, just because of the philosophy that we have. We are more synchronous, where we work with the veteran, and you lead the way on your claim. We don't assume that we don't insult your intelligence and assume that we have all the answers or we have all the knowledge or what have you. We're more like a guide, right, in the building of your claim, right? And so if that's what you'd like to do, if you need help, please reach out to us. I'd be more than happy to assist you and walk you through what all of these things mean, or you can just watch my videos. I'm going to be talking a lot about VA claims and compensation and assistance and other benefits that veterans are owed and that you may qualify for. So stay tuned. And as I say to everybody, whether you are a veteran, whether you are still in the military, whether you are a civilian, whether you're just a person trying to get through life, you can make it. Do not get down on yourself and never give up. And you should all live royally and live well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.